Today, there's something of a pall of hypocrisy that hangs over this executive in terms of its COVID regulations. For months now, on a nigh daily basis, up in the Long Gallery, the First Minister and the Deputy First Minister and/or substitutes have lectured the people of Northern Ireland about the inescapable necessity of standing in favour of and implementing each and every one of these regulations. We're all in it together, we were told. And when families found it very, very difficult in burying their loved ones to abide by these regulations, the Deputy First Minister went on record to say that no one was above the law. Well, today, we saw that she herself thinks she is above the law, that the Finance Minister thinks he is above the law, that other Sinn Féin Assembly members think they are above the law. Credibility of this executive on these issues has been shredded by a joint leader of this executive this very day. What a commentary that as we meet to debate restrictions such as this, that the joint leader of this government is out on the streets in West Belfast, flagrantly breaching the very regulations which she put in place.
Point of order, Mr O'Dowd.
Mr Allister may have a view on whether breaches occurred today or not, but it is not appropriate for a member to stand up in this House and accuse another member or a minister of breaking the law. It is not appropriate. I don't believe it would stand on the standing orders.
I think the best I could say, and I'm sorry, I have to rise to answer that. I think the best I could say in relation to that is that the standing orders and the rules and conventions of the House instruct members to be temperate at all times in what they say and in how they say it. I think, Mr O'Dowd, you have put your comment on the record. I think, Mr Allister, you have put your comment on the record as well, and I'll allow you to resume.
Thank you. Well, I'll express it in the very terms that the executive expresses the rules about funerals on NI Direct. This is the guidance of Michelle O'Neill. This is the guidance she has lectured us all about in this building. And this is what it says. The funeral should be private, and only the following should be there. Up to a maximum of 30 people. Let's bring it right up to date. Up to a maximum of 30 people. This figure does not include funeral directors or other people needed to officiate. There it is. That's what Michelle O'Neill tells the rest of us across Northern Ireland. When it comes to the most difficult issue of all, funerals, they should be private and up to a maximum of 30 people should be there. And yet today, in flagrant defiance of her own guidance, she takes herself as a joint leader of this government to West Belfast to breach the very guidance she puts upon the rest of us. That is why I say this executive today has shredded its own guidance. This executive today has lost all credibility when it comes to saying to ordinary people, do what we say. Not do what we do what we say. And that is the inescapable, orchestrated, predetermined message from Sinn Féin and their leadership today. It's not do as we do, it's do as we say. That is contemptible, utterly contemptible. And that junior minister, of course, has to come today and tell us why these regulations are so essential to us. I notice he's getting no help from Minister Kearney. He's not here today to answer this debate. Is it embarrassment keeps him away? Is he running away from the questions as to why his leaders were in flagrant breach of the regulations today? Is that why it's been left to Minister Lyons to handle this alone? It really is an appalling indictment of not just the dysfunctionalism, but the double standards of this miserable executive. That they say to ordinary folk in the depths of grief and sorrow and despair, you cannot go to your friend's funeral. You cannot be there. As Mr. Chambers told us, even a widow can't go to the crematorium. But Michelle O'Neill and the rest of them can go in the throngs, unlimited, to the funeral of a terrorist. That's a commentary in itself on this government and its regulation.